Oh yeah, it is going down again. Manuel Godoy from Black Sands, taking you on another exciting class, you know, about indie publishing. What? So, how many of you guys are excited to be here today? We got some pretty dope stuff coming on tonight because tonight I built you a tool. All right? So most of the time, we're not making tools like this, but today, I decided to make you guys a tool so you guys can actually basically calculate your cost without having to go through too much trouble trying to figure it out. How many of you guys think that would be a pretty good tool to have, right, in your repertoire, especially when you're trying to calculate how much a book might cost? I gave you some answers before on numbers, but that stuff that stuff's kind of vague, right? Now, the thing about this tool is because it's in an Excel spreadsheet, you're basically going to be able to plug in your own numbers. So let's say you say, hey, I really like the artist that does it for $150 per page for color art, right? So the number you put in there, which is the average, that's low. I need to change the number to $150 per page. You could do that, and your numbers will be correct. We want to make this pretty easy for you. That's the whole goal of the class, is to make this as easy for you guys as possible. And you see, Sheba has a good point. She says, I'm not really that good at math, right? So why should I make it hard for you? Check it out. When you put your numbers in, right, your estimated numbers, it'll do all the math for you. So it's going to do everything about your cost. So you don't have to worry about it. It's going to tell you your break-even point. It's going to tell you how much it's going to cost to get the books in order to break even. And then once you get past the break-even point, which is your fixed cost, once you've made up for that, basically every book sold after that, you're actually keeping some money for yourself. You're actually starting to make money, right? So before we begin, I would like to briefly talk to you about how your progress has gone with your writing. How many people are over 5,000 words right now? Show of hands, all right? Show of hands. Show me in your hands how many of you have already passed 5,000 words in your production. All right, so Edwin is at 8K. Sagia, she's doing good. One of our patrons, one of my personal apprentices. Hardy's in there too. I'm glad a lot of people are getting their writing done. It's very important. Now I have a question for you guys. Any of you guys in Alabama? Don't worry about it. Just catch this live, and then afterwards go back, watch those classes that you missed, and just work on pace. You don't have to worry about anything. All right, so it's good to know that a lot of you guys have been doing your thing. What part of Alabama, Gambit? Gambit, what part of Alabama you at? I'm at North Alabama, aka Birmingham. Oh, Landis is also over there in Birmingham? That's pretty dope. You guys better catch me at freaking Comic-Con, all right? Comic-Con is a week from now, all right? Catch me at the event. I'm actually one of the featured guests at Comic-Con, so you can catch me in person the entire weekend. I'm there. I'm also going to be hosting a panel Friday night. I believe it's 7 p.m. I believe that's when I'm going to be hosting my panel. All right, so if you want to catch me in person, run into me for real, just catch me at Comic-Con and at the Jacob Javits Center or whatever, the one right there in downtown. Yeah. All right, so let's get into this tool, right? This class is entirely explaining this tool and how you can use it. Yes, I'll definitely be at New York Comic Con this year. I can't miss that show. That's one of the best ones of the year, right? So I'm definitely down for that. Let's go into the tool. First things first, I got to pull it up for you guys so you can see it. Okay? And let me see if I can get this a little closer. I want to get the view a little more zoomed in because it might be too small for the screen right now. So let's see, 125%. How does that look? Still want it a little bigger. Let's go with 150%. 150%. Whoa, too big. 140%. Once I get this right, you're gonna love it. Okay. All right. So we're here, right? Let's go. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna pull this up for you guys. I wanted to make sure it was clear before I do anything, right? But let's go into it right now. Boom. All right. So I'd assume you guys can see my Excel spreadsheet in front of me. Let me know if you could see it clearly. Okay. Let me know in the comments if you could see my spreadsheet that I created clearly. All right. Do you guys see that? All right, that's good. Okay, good. So first things first, let's look at what we have here. All right, we have two sections. We have two sections to our spreadsheet, and I'm gonna be giving to you this on Discord. Okay, so you know that Tools tab, we have this Class Resources tab. This is going to be uploaded over there, so anybody can download it from the Discord server. All right. We have a separator right here. This is a separator for two sections. The sections are our regular categories, which is our fixed costs, all right? These are fixed costs. These are the things you can't avoid when you're making your book. And then you have your variable costs, right? Every book you're going to pay about X amount of money. This number changes based on how much bulk you have. So these numbers, the bottom numbers, are for your variables, all right? This is your cost per book, all right? And these ones are your cost to make your first book, all right? So I have categories, like first thing is category, right? This just explains what it is. Cost average, all right? These are averages that I've seen over time, all right? So I expect for a black and white page of art to be $70. I expect for a color one to be $120 on average, right? Cover design, $300 on average. Co-writing, 3 cents per word. Ghostwriting, 5 cents per word, all right? These are things that I expect, right? Now, is anybody in here making a novel? I want to have an example, a real life example. Who's gonna write a novel, and only a novel, only words? Who's gonna write a novel in here? If you're gonna write a novel, how long are you gonna make it? Like, give me an estimate on your word count. Give me an estimate on the word count, and I'll plug it in. All right. So Edwin says he's going to do 40,000 words, right? All right. So let's start this off. Edwin's going to do 40,000 words. Edwin, are you planning on using any co-writers or ghostwriters in your production? This is the question specifically for Edwin. Are you planning on using co-writers or ghostwriters in your production? All right, tell me right now which one you're going to use. Co-writer or ghostwriter? Matter of fact, don't even tell me. I'm going to put each one in and we'll go from there, all right? So first things first, we know for a fact that you got to have 40,000 words edited, right? If you want to do a professional book. You can skip editing if you want to and risk it. It's not really that risky when it's your first book you ever made, right? You could do your own editing and hope for the best, right? And if it does well, then you pay for the editing afterwards. But let's just put it in there for argument's sake, right? 40,000. That's 40,000 right there, right? So we got 40,000 words for editing. Let's say we're going to use a co-writer, right? You don't want to use a ghostwriter, you want to use a co-writer because it'll be cheaper, right? So you got to put their name in the book, but you're going to use a co-writer for 40,000 words, right? So bam, you got to have a cover design. So let's just put one of those in, right? So we have one cover design, and look at this. When we say multiplier, it's always in the multiples of the median. So if we're talking about art, we're going by pages, right? If we're going by covers, we're talking about how many covers you're going to make. Maybe you want variant covers. I don't know. When we talk about editing, we're talking about each word. When we're talking about co-writing, we're talking about each word, right? And you just plug those numbers in. So you say, hey, 40,000, 40,000, 1, right? And as a result, it's going to tell you how much your book's going to cost. Your book right now, if you use a co-writer, if you use editing services, and you get a cover design, you're going to cost about $2,300. All right? $2,300 for your novel. But wait, there's more information. Yes, when we're talking about the cover, we're talking about the front, the back, all the word art and stuff involved in the cover. That's how much it's going to cost you if you use a co-writer and what's it called. Now remember, this is $1,200 for your co-writing. You don't need a co-writer if you don't feel like it, right? So, but this right here lets you know early in the game how much a co-writer is going to cost you, in case you don't want this coming up to you after you done did all your work. Like you don't want to get somebody after you do all the work and you realize, ah, crap, I can't afford a co-writer, and now you basically didn't write that well because you thought you were going to use a co-writer. So you're like, yeah, I'll just get as much content down and the co-writer will fix it up for me. Now you can't afford them, and now you have a sloppy book. If you knew from the jump that you couldn't afford a co-writer, you would have wrote it a different way, because you'd have tried to make it as nice as possible from the jump. But because you didn't calculate these numbers before you made your book, you got hammered. All right? So check it out though. This is the cool thing about this tool, right? $2,300 for a co-writer and an editor, right? And remember, co-writers can work for free, but they own half of your book. So don't do that, right? You can get a co-writer for free, right? You can get an editor for free, but they're gonna own a piece of your book. Now, here's the cool thing. Whenever we put a number in, right? So let's say it's fixed costs, right? The break-even point, you see this row right here called break-even? So the break-even point is how many books of a specific type you have to sell in order to break even. Okay? And yes, you will be getting this spreadsheet on the Discord server. All right? So in other words, since you're doing a black and white novel, it's gonna take 230 books in order to break even. Okay? You have to sell 230 books to break even. After you sell 230 books, every book you sell after that point, you get to keep some of that money for yourself. And once you cover your variable and your fixed cost, you're actually going to start making a hell of a good margin, you know, but you have to get over that point first, right? This is called planning for the future, all right? So that's what's the dope thing about it, right? We're looking at this right here. Look at this, cost average, right? A novel that's black and white and roughly 40,000 words will cost $2.50. Okay? Technically, yes. So if you use Amazon's print on demand, if you sold 230 books through print on demand, you'd break even on your book. You know? Hey, I think that we're just having some issues with yours because I don't see this complaint from other people about the blurriness. Did you check the resolution button? Use the HD resolution button, or at least the 480p resolution button. All right, if you're on a low resolution, you're not going to be able to see it well. All right, so we have that information, right? We got this in there. We know this. Let's try somebody else. Anybody planning on making comic books? Let's zero it out. Zero it out. Anybody making comic books? If you're making a comic book, I need you to give me an estimate on how many pages you're going to do, and also whether it's color or black and white. All right? All right, give me a page count, and whether it's black and white or color. All right? Give me those numbers, and I'll use you as an example. All right, so we're going with Jonathan Houston. Jonathan Houston has a very modest comic book. I love when someone says 32 pages, because that means they're trying to get their story out there. They're not trying to make it epic. They're just trying to make sure that they get their story out there, see if people like it, and then they continue the series later. 32 pages is a very safe comic book size. So let's go put it in, right? 32 pages. Bam. 32 pages. The art budget, if you use average prices, all right? This is not prices overseas. This is like average American prices, all right? That's $33,840 for your art. That's just for your art. Obviously, we're going to have a cover. Sometimes people do variant covers in order to, when they go to shows and stuff, they sell a variant cover at a marked up price because there's less prints of them. So you can say 2, right? Let's say we have 2 variant covers, right? You don't need editing for a 32-page book. You just don't, all right? So we're not going to put anything in there. We're not going to put anything in any other category. Our number right now is $4,400, all right? So $4,440 is your cost to make this book. How many books would you need to sell? First of all, we're doing saddle stitch, right? That's the cheapest kind of book. So what we're looking at here, right, is roughly 444 books. That's how many books you have to sell if your comic book is $10. So if you sell your comic book at $10, if you sell 444 of them, you've broken even. At that point, after that, you're making money. Okay? See how the tool works? Now, the cool thing is, if I change any of these numbers, right? You see the fixed numbers over here? So let's say I want to do business in China, right? So when you buy 1,500 comics, when you buy 1,500 comics in China, right, through like Print Ninja, you'll get the saddle stitch number. This saddle stitch number, which is 220 right now, will actually be 1.28, right? $1.28 per book. All right, $1.28 per book. Now, what it does is, it doesn't change this point, right? It doesn't change this. However, in order to get the books to break even, will only cost you about $568. Whereas before, it was $220. It cost you $976 to break even. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, plus your margin gets bigger, right? Because you got a $10 book and you got $220. That means that you're making about $7.20 per. $7.80 per book. Whereas the other one, you're making close to $9 per book. And the cool thing about that is, you got to be able to discount stuff. You got to be able to bundle things together. So the better you can get your margin, your profit margin, the better overall you're going to get, period, Now, these right here, you see this row right here what has the cost? These are all your cost, right? That's how much it costs to get those books that you need in order to break even, right? So technically it's kind of added on to your debt, right? But this varies, right? So the more you chip away at this, the less it becomes until eventually it becomes nothing, right? And all you have is this. Every time you buy a book, you're spending $250 to collect an additional $750, right? That's good money, you know? Let's say you want to sell your book for $12, right? Say, I'm selling it for 12 bucks. That's what I want to do. I want to sell it for $12 instead. I don't want to sell $10 novels. I think my novel's $12. All right, well, if you needed to make a $12 change on here, your break-even point would automatically change. You understand? This would automatically change your break-even point because now it's estimating on the fact that you're making $12 per book. So it became a lot less books to sell in order to break even. Pretty dope, right? This tool is very adjustable. The only thing I tell people not to adjust is this row right here, the total estimated cost, right? And the break-even point. Don't change those. Those are my formulas, all right? I don't want you changing my formulas. But everything else is tied into each other. So if you change any numbers here, you're going to get it. Let's see now. For children's books, right? Someone said something about children's book. How about a 20-page, fully colored children's book, right? Look at that. 20-page, fully covered children's book. Since it's a children's book, we got to have a hardcover, right? So it's $7 per book. That sucks, right? But let's say $7 per book. You're looking at, look at this though. You see the price margin? $20 per book. We sell children's books for $20 per book, right? If we do it professionally, we can probably get it down. We can get it to $20 per book. But let's say we're doing 15, right? Or 16 bucks. 15 bucks, right? It'll take 180 books to break even on that 2,700. All right? But, and this is the big doozy, it'll cost $1,260 just to get those freaking 180 books because hardcovers are stupid expensive. So what I always tell people is when you're making a hardcover book, don't make it too big, all right? I think the Maury's Family Adventure book is too big. It's like 9 by 9. It's so expensive to print, you know? If the book was 6 by 9, right? If it was 6 by 9, the cost would have been $5 per book for hardcover. But because it's 9 by 9, the price is in the US would be like $9. In China, we can get it down to about $6, but still very risky, all right? So pay attention to that whenever you're trying to make your numbers, all right? All right, so any other examples? I see that R Squared Game says 58,000 words, all right? 58,000 words. Let's do that. Let's close this out. Let's close this out. Let's say we're definitely going to have a cover. Let's say we're doing 58,000 words, but we don't want anybody to take the credit. We want to take all the credit. I want every last ounce of the credit. I don't want to share nothing. I want to say that I wrote the book solo. I want to say that I did everything myself, and you guys can kiss my butt. I'm the best writer there ever was. All right? So I'm going to have to pay for a ghostwriter. All right? So let's go and get this ghostwriter in there. Boom. All right? We're looking at the cost of the ghostwriter alone is $2,900, but we also want to edit it, right? A light editing. We don't want to have a copy editor, right? So we have that as well, right? And now we're looking at the total cost for a 58,000 word book that is ghost written and properly edited to be $4,360. If you want to sell the book for $15, because it's actually a pretty big book, right? Let's say you're selling it for $14.99, right? $14.99, you need about 290 books sold in order to break even on your books. All right? Easy, right? Easy tool. You put your numbers in, they come out just like that. Very easy tool. Okay? Now, do we have any questions about this tool? Anything here that I talked about? Do you feel like you would be able to to work this tool yourself in order to estimate any book you're planning on making in the future, right? Any book you're planning on making in the future. Do you think this tool right here will be useful for you in order to achieve those things? But this is the thing though, Takio, the print of the books is not a fixed cost, it's a variable. It changes. It changes all the time. For instance, if you buy 1,000 books, your print cost goes down. But if you buy each book individually, one at a time, your price goes up, right? Once you break even, that's not even a cost anymore. It just affects your profit margin, because now you have a profit margin. You don't have one until you cover your fixed costs. But once you cover your fixed costs, you start having a profit margin. You understand? So we separated it on purpose, because if we added it in there, it messes up the way the real break-even cost is, all right? That fluctuates. It fluctuates all the time. Well, it doesn't matter. This is if you're planning on getting a custom cover, okay? If you're not planning on getting a custom cover and you're just going to use some cover pack or whatever, some downloadable pack, you know, more power to you, right? You can always change the numbers. So you could say, hey, my cover only cost me 75 bucks, right? Numbers change, right? What if you say this? Because your situation is different. What if you found an overseas ghostwriter that will do it for 3 cents instead of 5 cents per word, right? So 3 cents per word. Now the book only costs you $29.75 instead of $4,900. Just like that. Yes, but very little, all right? So this is a good question. Takeo Fallen asked a very good question. Whenever I use overseas services, first of all, you're not even going to get a quality paper choice in the United States. But if you go overseas, they're going to have plenty of options for the weight of the paper. I always use cover stock paper for my comic book. So whatever the stock of the cover is, I use that for the internal pages as well, because it's a really nice shine to it, right? It only increases the cost of books at like what? Like 4 cents. For the entire book price goes up by 4 cents. You know, and maybe across 1,000 books, that 4 cents can amount to maybe 40 bucks extra, right? But it's worth it. Trust me. When you look inside a book that basically has nothing but covers, it feels way different from a book printed in the United States. Way different, all right? Pages in the United States feel grainy, you know? They feel grainy, you know, but ones that are printed in the exact same stock as the cover for saddle stitch books tend to, now remember, cover stock for saddle stitch is different. It's very soft. It's like a regular paper, you know, but it's heavier stock. So, you know, use that kind. How important is the cover? Absolutely everything, all right? The cover is more important than your story. The cover is more important than your pitch. If your book doesn't say, hey, read me, right off the bat, you have an uphill struggle, all right? That's why covers cost so much, because they are the #1 factor in whether your book is going to sell or not, all right? Think of it this way. If you had 20 books on the table and everybody owned a different book, right? Everybody's competing for sales and somebody's just browsing through. They obviously can't read every book. They can't read every summary. They have to go through and they have to make a decision within 2 minutes, right? So they're briefly scanning each book. Which books do you think they're going to pick up first? It ain't going to be the one that has an interesting log line. No, it's going to be one that freaking looks awesome first. The first thing they're going to do is say, oh, this looks like something I would read, right? And then they look at it and they say, oh, that's a nice name. Oh, wait a minute, that log line's pretty dope. But the first thing is, ooh, this looks like something I would read, all right? It's very visual. It's very vain Like, it's not something that people are doing, like using a lot of intelligence to make that decision. It's all instinct. They say, this book looks like something I would read. What the hell does that even mean? This book looks like something I would read. Huh? Imagine if somebody said that about a picture. This picture looks like something I would read. It wouldn't make sense to you, but this is how people think of books. They say, ooh, do you see that planet in the background? Do you see that alien? Oh, you know what, man? I bet you this is a book I would read. I love aliens. Absolutely. 100%. That sentence doesn't make any sense in real life. Don't judge a book by its cover. That's exactly how people judge books. All right, so this class is officially over. Please give me some last second questions on anything. You can ask me questions about anything. And by the way, if you're looking to become a student for our programs, like for our counseling and stuff like that, or our consulting, the deadline to sign up is the 20th of February, all right? After the 20th, I'm getting rid of the tiers, all right? So anybody who's in there already, they're good to go. But anybody else who wants to sign up after February 20th will not be eligible to, because basically a lot of good things have happened for me on my side, and I really don't have that much time to give. I just don't. You know, so less clients the better. So if you're planning on signing up, just sign up now and I'll cover you. But after February 20th, I'm going to close all the signing up programs because I have a lot of awesome things happening down the pipeline. Anybody from Florida? Anybody from South Florida? Any South Florida people here? We got anybody from South Florida, aka Miami, that kind of area? All right, so check it out. I got a call the other day, right? They want me to be the featured keynote speaker at the African American Comic Book Festival they're throwing down there in Miami. What was it? I think it was May 11th or April 11th. I forgot which one it is. But you know, they want me to come down there and basically, you know, excite everybody in the community. You know, this is done at the African American Research Center and Library down there near Miami, right? And I'm gonna be flown down there. They're actually gonna fly me in so I can go and talk to you guys. So if you're down there, when I'm down there, I'm gonna holler at your boy. It's completely free. Well, Patreon, there's multiple different tiers. So Konami, there's multiple different tiers at patreon.com/Black Sands. All right, so you can go ahead and go there and check it out, you know. But yeah, we're going to be down there in South Florida for that. We're also going to be down there for Florida SuperCon. That's in Miami Beach. We're going to be down there as well, all right? So we're going to be down in Florida twice this year. We haven't been to Florida at all. So I hope you're excited to see us because we're coming hard. We're going to be wilding out like we always do. All right? What other places are you guys from? Give me, as a matter of fact, the rest of the comments I better see on here is where you guys, which states you're in. All right? And I'll tell you if I'm coming there this year. All right? Tell me your states. Tell me your states and I'll tell you if I'm coming to your state this year. Memphis, all right, Memphis. I'm not going to be that far to the west. I mean to the west, but I will be at MTAC, which is Middle Tennessee Anime Convention, right? Middle Tennessee Anime Convention. I'm going to be there. So if you don't mind driving past Nashville, you know, you come and holler at your boy. Let's see what else. Atlanta, I'm there all the time. All right, I'll be at AWA. I'll be at I'll be at MomoCon and most likely Dragon Con. All right, let's see. Minnesota, I might not go that far out, but I will be in Chicago. So if you want to drive to Chicago from Minnesota, you can catch me at C2E2, which is coming up next month. All right. Maine, yeah, there's no way in hell you're going to catch me in Maine, bruh. I'm sorry. That's so far out the way. Washington, D.C., yes, I'm going to be at Awesome Con. Awesome Con. All right. I'm also going to be at Baltimore Comic Con as well. So you just drive up to Baltimore as well. Let's see. Killer Cali represent. Yeah, I don't know any. I don't have any events in Cali yet, but you never know what might happen with that. Michigan. Well, yeah. What was it? Detroit. I don't know if I'm having anything in Detroit. No. Whole bunch of events in New York. I will definitely be at in Texas a couple of times. So I'm going to be in Texas for Dallas Fan Expo. I'm going to be at Dallas Fan Expo. I am also going to be at, and let me go and get the screen up so you can see me. All right. I'm also going to be at, what's the other one? Anime Matsuri in Houston. So I'm going to be there as well. All right. Anime Matsuri in Houston. Let's see what else. Louisiana. I'm gonna be in New Orleans. All right. I'm gonna be at the Big Easy Con. All right. That's hosted by Left Field Media. I'm gonna be there in New Orleans, holding it down. And if I show up, you guys better bring me a freaking hoagie. All right. Don't be messing around. You better give me a hoagie. All right. Let's see what else. Let's see. Anybody else? Anybody else? Yep, we're going to be in Chicago. We're going to be at C2E2 next month. All right, so Quality Child Care 1. Holla at me at C2E2. All right, that's probably the only chance you're going to see me up in the Chi. North Carolina, I would definitely catch me either in Atlanta or catch me in Washington, D.C. However, I will say this. I've tried to apply multiple times to Raleigh, North Carolina Con, but I can't get in. I was too late for the application. All right, so that's what's up. All right, so you guys know where I'm going to be now. All right, so come and holla at me when I'm there. All right, look for those events and get your tickets and show up. All right, I'm gonna be at Comic-Con next. That is next week. Featured guest. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be amazing, and we're just gonna be going from there. All right. Let's see what Friday's class is going to be. Before I head out, I can tell you what it is right now. Friday's class is going to be it's gonna be a philosophy class. Okay. So the next class is going to be basically collaboration. Is it right for me? All right, so we're going to talk about philosophy. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of giving up a piece of your production. All right, so that's a pretty good one because a lot of you guys are looking at these costs and saying, oh my God, I have to pay $3,000 to do this book? So collaboration might be a good way to avoid paying all that money. But it comes with a lot of caveats. So we are definitely going to cover all those caveats so we don't mess around and get screwed in the end. All right? See y'all later. Black Sands out.